Edwin Leto, Citizen TV.
Now, still on Tanzania, human rights activists in Kenya have hailed the ongoing anti-government protests, saying the neighbouring country is currently undergoing a democratic reawakening moment. The civil society groups are now calling on the African Union, the Southern African Development Community SADC, and the East African Community EAC to hold President Samia Suluhu accountable for suppressing democracy in Tanzania. Seth Olale reports.
With anti-government protests entering second day in the East African nation, human rights activists in the region say security agencies are using excessive force to suppress demonstrators.
Restore constitutional order in your countries and respect the human rights of your people.
Tunataka serikali ya Tanzania ikome mara moja kutumia vikosi vya usalama kunyamazisha, kugandamiza na kuwaua Watanzania.
Immediate cessation of violence by Tanzanian security forces against unarmed civilians and unconditional release of all detained protesters and political prisoners.
There's many people who are working both to document all of the human rights violations that are happening in Tanzania at this time.
Our leaders are using our money to buy guns and weapons to kill our children.
The civil society group say the Tanzanian elections were not free and fair.
Those were sham elections. It was Suluhu versus Samia. She was competing with her own shadow.
Ule uchaguzi uliofanyika uweze kupigwa marufuku kwa sababu haukuwa uchaguzi ambao wa Tanzania walikuwa wameshiriki.
The human rights groups are now petitioning the African Union, the Southern African Development Community, and East Africa Community to hold President Samia Suluhu accountable for using excessive force on demonstrators who are exercising their democratic rights.
It is time for the African Union to serve the people of Africa, to stop being a club of leaders clinging to power.
Immediate restoration of internet access and all communication channels to allow citizens, journalists, and human rights defenders to freely share information.
The civil society groups announcing that they will mobilize citizens in the country in rejecting oppressive legislations controversially passed by Parliament. Civil society groups have vowed to continue petitioning the government to install good governance on its citizens in accordance to the existing laws. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.